analysis. Let me explain the concept first. What is leverage analysis? Leverage analysis helps to analyze the impact of fixed cost on profits made by the organization. So what do you mean by impact of fixed cost on profits made by the organization? See, whatever is the profits made by the organization, fixed cost is going to remain constant. Correct? Fixed cost, what is the nature of fixed cost? It remains constant. Abdina, if the profit made by the organization is more, what will happen? Fixed cost will look small. Fixed cost you will subtract to know the profits. If profit is reducing, will the fixed cost also reduce? No, fixed cost will remain the same. In such case, what impact does it have on your ultimate profits? Your ultimate profits becomes too less when the fixed cost remains constant and when the profit also goes down. So, what is that impact of fixed cost on profits made by the organization is what we measure using the leverages. What are the two forms of fixed cost incurred? One is fixed operating cost, which could be rent, depreciation, salary, then administrative expenses. So all such expenses are fixed cost. It is not related to production. So fixed cost can be classified into two. One is fixed operating cost and the other is fixed financial cost. What do you mean by fixed operating cost and fixed financial cost? Fixed operating cost are examples I told you just now. Rent, depreciation, supervision, then paper, printing and stationery, administrative expenses. So all those are fixed cost which is not relevant to production. Correct? Fixed financial cost is the interest cost on debt. If your capital structure comprises of debt, the interest which is paid on debt is what you call as fixed financial cost. So the impact of fixed cost on profits of the organization can be because of two fixed costs. One is fixed operating cost and the other is fixed financial cost. If you are considering the impact of fixed operating cost, you call it as operating leverage. If you are finding the impact of fixed financial cost, you call it financial leverage. If you are finding the impact of both fixed operating cost and financial cost, you call it combined leverage. Okay, these are the three forms of leverages. What is leverage? Leverage is a measure which helps to determine the impact of fixed cost on profit made by the organization. What are the two forms of fixed cost incurred by the organization? One is fixed operating cost and the other is fixed financial cost. What is fixed operating cost? Those are expenses which are incurred for the operation of the business and is not related to production. What is fixed financial cost? It is cost incurred for paying interest on debt when debt forms part of capital structure. That is fixed financial cost. If you are measuring the impact of fixed operating cost on profits, you call it an operating leverage. If you are measuring the impact of fixed financial cost on profits, you call such leverage as financial leverage. If you are measuring the impact of both operating and financial fixed cost on profits, you call it the combined leverage. How do you measure operating leverage? It is contribution by EBIT. How do you measure financial leverage? It is EBIT by EBT. How do you measure combined leverage? It is contribution by EBT. Alternatively, it is operating leverage into financial leverage. What is the formula for operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. What is the formula for financial leverage? EBIT by EBT. When I multiply both, what will happen? EBIT in the numerator and denominator will get cancelled. You will end with contribution by EBT. Is this understood so far? Operating leverage is contribution by EBIT. Financial leverage is EBIT by EBT. Combined leverage is contribution by EBT. Alternatively, you can find it as operating leverage into financial leverage. Okay. Suppose if in the question they say, represent it as a percentage. Suppose if they say, what is the degree of leverage as a percentage? In such case, the formula will take a difference. To know the impact of fixed cost. Why are you studying CMA? To know the impact of fixed cost in profits is what you find leverage. So, the degree of leverage, if they are asking you as a percentage, the formula will take a slight change. The common degree of operating leverage, financial leverage, combined leverage, for everything there is a separate formula. Instead of remembering individual formula, you remember one common formula. What is that common formula? The degree of leverage is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. So, what is the degree of leverage? It is percentage change in dependent variable, DENT, spelling mistake. Okay. Percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. This is the common formula. So if you remember one formula, you can knock off all the three formulae for operating, financial and combined leverage. Percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. What is dependent under operating leverage and what is independent? Sales is independent. EBIT is dependent. How is EBIT dependent? It is dependent on fixed cost. Let me show the statement for you. Sales minus variable cost is contribution, minus fixed cost is EBIT, minus interest is EBT. Based on this fixed cost, will my EBIT get affected? Based on this fixed operating cost, my EBIT will get affected. So my EBIT is dependent on fixed cost. But what is independent? Sales is independent. So how do you measure the degree of leverage? It is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. When it comes to operating leverage, I am bothered only about the fixed operating cost. So after fixed operating cost, what is my profits? It is EBIT. This EBIT is dependent on what? On sales. So percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. Percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. That is degree of operating leverage. Next comes degree of financial leverage. What is this degree of financial leverage again? Financial leverage is because of the influence of fixed financial cost, which is the interest cost. Okay. Again, look into your income statement. You have EBIT, interest and EBT. EBT is dependent on interest. Correct? Apna, how do you measure the degree of financial leverage? It is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. What is dependent in financial leverage? EBT is dependent in financial leverage. What is independent in financial leverage? EBIT is independent in financial leverage. So, under financial leverage, the formula will be percentage change in EBT divided by percentage change in EBIT. So percentage change in EBT divided by percentage change in EBIT is nothing but percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. Next comes the degree of combined leverage. What happens under combined leverage? Under combined leverage, you will combine both operating and financial leverage. Correct? So if you are multiplying these both, what will happen? EBIT in the numerator and the EBIT in the denominator will get cancelled. You will end with percentage change in EBT divided by percentage change in sales. What happens under combined leverage? Under combined leverage, I am measuring the impact of both fixed operating cost and financial cost on profits. Fixed operating cost is this. Fixed financial cost is interest. So what is the profit after fixed cost? It is EBT. So EBT is dependent on what? On sales in case of combined leverage. So percentage change in dependent variable, which is percentage change in EBT, divided by percentage change in independent variable, which is divided by percentage change in sales, will give us the degree of combined leverage. Is it understood? So in your question, if they ask you as a percentage, you have to apply the second set of formulae. If they are asking you only the ratios, you will say contribution by EBIT, EBIT by EBT, contribution by EBT. That's all. Is the formula understood? So instead of remembering these degrees separately, it is enough if you remember only one common formula, which is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. That's all. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right. So now coming to sums. Please take illustration 43. Please take illustration 43. Just 1 minute. I'm going on mute. I'll come back. Okay. So now please take illustration 43. What is told in illustration 43? Calculate the degree of operating leverage, financial leverage, and combined leverage for the firm and interpret the results. Just 1 minute. Sorry, once again. Okay. So now calculate the degree of operating, financial, and combined leverage for the following firm and interpret the results. They have given us the output level, fixed cost, variable cost per unit, interest on borrowed funds, and selling price per unit. Given the selling price per unit, first under leverages, what are you supposed to do? You have to first prepare your income statement. Okay. You have to find contribution, EBIT, EBT, and other factors. So first prepare your income statement. While preparing your income statement, they have given us the selling price per unit is 0.6, 5, and 0.1. Variable cost per unit is given as 0.2, 1.5, 0.02. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit will give you contribution per unit. Into the number of units will give you the total contribution. Minus the fixed cost. 7,000, 14,000 and 1,500 will give you EBIT. Minus interest. 4,000, 8,000 and nil will give you EBT. What are they asking us for? They are asking you for operating leverage, financial leverage and combined leverage. How do you measure operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. How do you measure financial leverage? EBIT by EBT. How do you measure combined leverage? Two ways. Operating leverage into financial leverage or contribution by EBT. Either way, you will get the same answer. Okay, va? Very simple sum. Is this sum understood? You have to simply prepare your income statement. For operating leverage, it will be contribution by EBIT. For financial leverage, it will be EBIT by EBT. And for combined leverage, it will be contribution by EBT. What have they asked in this question? They are asking us for interpretation of results. How are you going to interpret the results? Higher the leverage, higher is the risk of the firm. Okay, va? ஜென்ரலாவே ஏன்னா லீவரேஜ் அதிகமாக ஆக என்ன ஆகும் எனக்கு fixed cost is more னு அர்த்தம். Only when fixed cost is more will the leverage be high. High leverage is an indication. You can read the interpretation from your study material itself. High operating leverage combined with high financial leverage represents a risky situation. Low operating leverage combined with low financial leverage represents a low risky situation. Ideal situation will be moderate. Okay, va? Form M is less risky. Form K is most risky. Comparing the leverages. High leverage is an indication of high risk. Okay. So here the leverage is maximum for K. Here again leverage maximum for K. So combined leverage is maximum for K. The leverage is least for M, operating leverage, be it financial leverage or the combined leverage. So least risk is M, high risk is K, moderate risk is L. Is it understood? Is it understood? Right. Now coming to the next sum. Please take illustration 44. A firm has a sale of 10 lakhs, variable cost of 7 lakhs, fixed cost of 2 lakhs, debt of 5 lakhs at 10% rate of interest. What are the operating, financial and combined leverages? If the firm wants to double its earnings before interest and tax, how much of rise in sales will be needed on percentage basis? So here I am supposed to apply the next degree of leverage formula as well. Okay. First, let's prepare an income statement. Whenever you get a question on leverages, you have to first prepare an income statement. First, start with sales. Sales is 10 lakhs. How much is variable cost? 7 lakhs. Contribution is 3 lakhs. Fixed cost is 2 lakhs. So EBIT is 1 lakh. How much is interest? 5 lakhs is debt. On that 10% is the interest rate. So 50,000 is interest. So you get EBT of 50,000. How do you measure operating leverage? They have asked you what are the operating, financial and combined leverages. First find them. How do you find? Operating leverage is contribution by EBIT. So it is 3 lakhs divided by 1 lakh 3. Financial leverage is EBIT by EBT 1 lakh by 50,000 which is 2. Combined leverage is operating leverage into financial leverage 3 into 2 6. With that the question is not over. What have they asked? They have asked how much of rise in sales will be needed if the firm wants to double its earnings before interest and tax. So they are asking us for the degree of leverage, that which I am sure. But which degree of leverage are they asking you for? You know, na, degree of leverage can be degree of operating leverage, financial leverage or combined leverage. Which leverage are they asking us for? It depends on between what they are establishing the relationship. What are they establishing the relationship between? If the firm wants to double its earnings before interest and tax, how much of rise in sales will be needed? So they are establishing the relationship between EBIT and sales. In such case, we have to apply the degree of operating leverage. When it comes to degree of operating leverage, what is the formula? It is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. Which is the dependent variable? EBIT is a dependent variable, which is an independent variable. Sales is an independent variable. So the formula will be percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. What have they told here? How much of rise in sales will be needed if the firm wants to double its earnings before interest and tax? So, if the earnings is supposed to be doubled, which means is it 100% increase? If the earnings, how much is earnings before interest and tax? 1 minute. How much is earnings before interest and tax? 1 lakh. It wants to double its earnings, which means it will become 2 lakhs, which means it is 100% increase. So, percentage change in EBIT is 100%. Just now we found operating leverage. What was that? Operating leverage we found as 3. That 3 is equal to 100% change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. So what is the question? By how much rise of sales will be needed on a percentage basis? So percentage change in sales will be 100 by 3, which is 33, 1 by 3%. With this, your answer is over. But just for your satisfaction, I have done the verification as well. How much is sales? It was earlier given. This is the past income statement. Sales was 10 lakhs. Variable cost is 7 lakhs. Contribution is 3 lakhs. Fixed cost is 2 lakhs. EBIT is 1 lakh. I stop with this because I am now bothered about 33, 1 by 3% change in sales. Let me check this. Okay. How much is EBIT going to rise? It is going to become double, which means 100% increase. So 1 lakh into 2, 2 lakhs. Will fixed cost change? No, it will remain the same 2 lakhs, which means how much will your contribution be? I'm going in the reverse order. How much will your contribution be? Your contribution will become 4 lakhs. This 4 lakhs represent 30% PV ratio. Correct? 10 lakh is sale. 3 lakh is contribution, which means 30% is PV ratio. 4 lakh represents 30%, which means how much is 100%? It will be 4 lakh divided by 30%. So you will get 13 lakh 33,333 and the difference will be variable cost. Now, to achieve this contribution of 4 lakhs, how much was the sale we made? 13 lakh 33,333. How much is the increase? From 10 lakhs, it has increased to 13 lakh 33,333, which means 3 lakh 33,333 is the increase, which means it is 1/3 percentage. Are you able to understand? Here, this 4 lakh of contribution which we arrived, it represents PV ratio. What is PV ratio? It is 30% contribution by sales into 100. 3 lakh by 10 lakh into 100, 30% is PV ratio. 4 lakh divided by 30% of PV ratio will give you sales of 13 lakh 33,333. How much is the increase? 3 lakh 33,333 on how much? 10 lakhs, which means what is the percentage? 33, 1 by 3%. Hence proven. Are you able to understand? Do you understand? Right. Now coming to the next sum. Please take sum number 45. Illustration 45. What is illustration 45? X Corporation has estimated that for a new product, its break-even point is 2000 units. If the items are sold for 14 rupees per unit, the cost accounting department has currently identified the variable cost of 9 rupees per unit. Calculate the degree of operating leverage for a sale volume of 2,500 and 3,000 units. What do you infer from the degree of operating leverage at the sale volume of 2,500 and 3,000 units and their difference, if any? Okay. So, whenever they are asking us leverage, we are supposed to prepare an income statement. For preparation of income statement, Here they have told us the volume. Have they told us the volume? 2,500 and 3,000 units. They have told the selling price per unit and variable cost per unit. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit will give me contribution per unit. Have they told us fixed cost? What is leverage? Leverage is impact of fixed cost on profits. Have they told fixed cost? No. Instead, they have told me information for BEP. BEP is given as 2,000 units. How do you measure BEP? You should have studied this in marginal costing. How do you measure BEP? BEP is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. How much is fixed cost? I do not know. What is BEP? 2,000 units. How much is contribution per unit? It is 14 minus 9, which is 5 rupees. So how do you arrive at fixed cost? Will be 2,000 into 5. Fixed cost is arrived as 10,000 rupees. Leverage is dependent on fixed cost only. Impact of fixed cost only we are finding in leverage. So you cannot proceed further without finding fixed cost. So first find the fixed cost based on BEP information. We have arrived at 10,000. How do you prepare an income statement now? For 2,500 units and for 3,000 units, find the contribution per unit minus fixed cost. How much ever is the volume, fixed cost is going to remain the same. So contribution minus fixed cost will give you EBIT. What have they told? They have asked you calculate the degree of operating leverage for the two volumes. How do you measure operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. So you get the degree of operating leverage for the two different volumes. What have they told? They have told what do you infer from the degree of operating leverage at the two different volumes? At the two different volumes, if you could compare, here EBIT is 2,500. Later, EBIT has become 5,000, which means there is 100% increase in EBIT. So, if I am keeping the degree of operating leverage for the first volume as 5, what happens? Degree of operating leverage is percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales, which is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. So percentage change in EBIT is 100% divided by percentage change in sales. What is percentage change in sales? It is 20%. So let's check that. Is there a 20% increase in sale? 1 minute. I moved up. There is 20% change in sale, which will result in 100% change in EBIT. Now tell me, is there a 20% increase in sale? You can calculate and find. 2,500 into 14, what is the amount? 2,500 into 14, what is the amount? Hello? Two 2,500 into 14 gives you 35,000. Okay. Then 3,000 into 14? 42,000. How much is increase? 7,000? 7,000 is the increase? 7,000 of increase on 35,000. How much is it? 7,000 divided by 35,000. Is it 20%? Are you able to understand? So, for the first volume, the sales was 35,000. For the next volume, the sales is 42,000, which means the increase in sales is 7,000. What is the percentage of increase? 7,000 divided by 35,000, which is 20%. That is what I have proved here. 20% increase in sales will result in 100% change in EBIT. Why am I writing this? They have told, what do you infer from the degree of operating leverage? So what do you understand? You understand that with 20% increase in sale, profit will increase by 100%. That is the impact of fixed cost on profits. Is it understood? They have asked you for the inference, which you can explain using the degree of leverage only. The degree of leverage is the percentage you find. Is it understood? Right. Please take the next sum. Illustration 46. Please take illustration 46. Just 1 minute. Right. Okay. So now please take illustration 46. What is told in the sum? The following information is available for PKJ and company. EBIT is 11 lakh 20,000. Profit before tax is 3 lakh 20,000. Fixed cost is 7 lakhs. Calculate the percentage change in EPS if sales are expected to increase by 5%. So here they have straight away told you calculate the percentage change in EPS or earnings per share. Okay. So they are trying to establish a relationship between EPS and sales, which means what type of leverage is this? It is combined leverage. Okay. For any type of leverage, you can start the solution only by preparing your income statement. Sales minus variable cost is contribution, minus fixed cost is EBIT, minus interest is EBT. So how do you measure? What are the information given to me? Information given is EBIT, which is 11 lakh 20. Profit before tax is 3 lakh 20. Fixed cost is 7 lakhs. So these information, fixed cost, EBIT and EBT was given to me. With that, I am finding the remaining unknown. EBIT plus fixed cost will give me contribution. Correct? Then EBIT is 11 lakh 20, EBT is 3 lakh 20, which means in between interest must have been 8 lakhs. Okay. These are the unknowns which I am finding. What are the unknowns I have found? I have found contribution and interest. Knowing EBIT and fixed cost, EBIT plus fixed cost will give you contribution. Knowing EBIT and EBT, the difference between the two will be interest. What are they asking us for? They are asking you for percentage change in EPS if sales are expected to increase by 5%. So they are asking you for degree of combined leverage, for which first find the combined leverage. How do you find combined leverage? Contribution by EBT. Contribution by EBT is 18 lakh 20,000 divided by 3 lakh 20,000, which is 5.69. How do you find degree of combined leverage? It is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. What is the dependent variable here? EPS is dependent on what? Sales. Have they given you the percentage change in EPS? No, they are asking you for that. How much is the percentage change in sales? They've told 5% cross multiply, percentage change in EPS will be 28.45 percentage. That's all. Is this sum understood? Is this sum understood? So, right. Now come to illustration 47. What is told under illustration 47? XYZ company has three financial plans before it. Plan 1, 2, and 3. Calculate the operating and financial leverage for the firm on the basis of the following information and also find out the highest and lowest value of combined leverages. Okay. So here they have told the production volume, selling price, variable cost, fixed cost under three different situations and three different financial plans. Okay. So you will arrive at 9 different leverages. 3 into 3, totally 9 leverages you will arrive at. Okay. So what is told here? They have told the production is 800 units. Selling price per unit is 15 rupees. Variable cost is 10 rupees, which means contribution per unit is 5 rupees. How do you arrive at total contribution? It is number of units into contribution per unit. How many units? 800 units. 800 into 5 will give you total contribution minus fixed cost. They have given you three different situations of fixed cost. One is 1000, then is 2000, then is 3000. You get EBIT under three different situations. With that, you get operating leverage, contribution by EBIT. So it is 4000 by 3000, 4000 by 2000, 4000 by 1000. After finding operating leverage, now coming to financial leverage, you will find a financial leverage when EBIT is 3000, 2000 and 1000 for three different financial plans. Okay. So when the EBIT is 3000, 2000 and 1000, if it is plan 1, what is under plan 1? The capital structure is 5000 of equity and 5000 of debt. How much is interest rate? 12%. Interest on debt is 5000 into 12%. EBIT minus interest will give you EBT. How do you find financial leverage? It is EBIT by EBT, right? Then once you find this, you can find combined leverage for this particular financial plan, which is operating leverage into financial leverage. Operating leverage I have already found for the three different situations A, B and C. Operating leverage into financial leverage will give you combined leverage. Again, for these three situations, for the three different EBIT, if it is financial plan 2, how much will be interest? Interest will be 2500 of debt into 12% interest amount. So EBIT minus interest will give you EBT. Then how do you find financial leverage here again? It is EBIT by EBT. So you find three different financial leverages. How will you find combined leverage? Operating leverage you already found for three different situations. Into the financial leverage will give you the combined leverage. Repeat the same for plan 3. Under plan 3 also you have three different situations of EBIT minus interest. How much is the debt in plan 3? Debt in plan 3 is 7500. How much is the interest rate? 12%. So when applied, you get 900 as the amount of interest. EBIT minus interest will give you EBT. How do you measure financial leverage? EBIT by EBT. How do you measure combined leverage? Operating leverage into financial leverage. So you get these leverages. 3 operating leverages, 9 different financial leverages and 9 different combined leverages. Okay. It is because 3 into 3. 3 financial plans, 3 levels of EBIT. So it is totally 9 financial leverages and 9 combined leverages. What are they asking us for? Find out the highest and lowest value of combined leverage. If you are looking into combined leverage, highest value is 40. It is for situation C, plan 3. Situation C, plan 3, you have the highest combined leverage. The lowest combined leverage will be 1.5 4763 is the least. For plan situation A, plan 2. That is the lowest combined leverage. Are you able to understand? Do you all understand? So, கேக்குதா? Simple application of formula. அவ்வளவுதான். Right. Now come to the next sum. Sum is this. ABC. Yeah. Illustration 51. Please take illustration 51. Oh, 1 minute. Excuse me. Okay. So what is told in illustration 51? Please take illustration 51. What is told in the sum? From the following, prepare an income statement of ABC firms. So they are asking you to prepare an income statement. Given financial leverage, interest, operating leverage, variable cost as a percentage of sales, and income tax rate. Okay, va? So here the numerical information is in form of absolute figure is only for interest. Only interest they have given you the absolute figure. Every other place they have given only the ratios to you. So how are you going to develop or find those values and post it in the income statement is this solution. Okay. First, write the income statement. Sales minus variable cost is contribution, minus fixed cost is EBIT, minus interest is EBT, minus tax at 50% will give you earnings after tax. How much is interest? Interest is given as 200. Okay. Right. Now, look into firm A alone now. For firm A, what is told? They have told financial leverage is 3:1. What is financial leverage? We know it is EBIT by EBT. EBIT is 3 as a ratio. EBT is 1 as a ratio. Financial leverage is 3:1, which means EBIT is 3 as a ratio. EBT is 1 as a ratio. Apna, in between that we have interest which is 2. 3 is EBIT. EBT is 1, which means in between interest is 2. When interest of 2 as a ratio is 200, what is 3 then? 3 will be 300. 1 will be 100. Are you able to understand? I am talking only for A. For A, given the interest, it comes in between the financial leverage. What is the financial leverage formula? EBIT by EBT. That they have told us 3:1, which means when EBIT is 3, EBT is 1, which means interest in between is 2. When 2 is 200, what is 3? It should be 300. And what is 1? It should be 100. So I got EBIT. After finding EBIT, coming to operating leverage. What is operating leverage? It is given as 4:1. How do you measure operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. Contribution is 4. EBIT is 1. That is why you get 4:1 as operating leverage. Contribution by EBIT is 4:1, which means contribution is 4 times EBIT. Are you able to understand? Contribution divided by EBIT is 4:1. When EBIT is 1, contribution is 4, which means in between fixed cost will be 3. Is it this sum? 1 minute I'm having a doubt. 1 is 300. Contribution by EBIT, correct? EBIT is 300. 300 into 4 na inga 1200 தானே வரணும். ஒரே ஒரு நிமிஷமா. Aக்கு வந்து 4:1 is taken as 5:1. You can make the change. For A, it is 5:1. And for B, it is, no, this is not, that's one maybe. Illustration 48. I'm sorry. We are doing illustration 48. The interest amount is the same. Interest is the same, 200, 300 and 1000. Please take illustration 48. I'm not confused right now. Illustration 48. Interest is 200. Okay. Financial leverage is 3:1, which means 3 is EBIT, EBT is 1, which means interest is 2, that 2 is 200, which means 3 is 300. Now coming to operating leverage is given as 5:1. How do you measure the operating leverage? Operating leverage is contribution by EBIT. Contribution by EBIT is 5:1. Illustration 48. Contribution by EBIT is 5:1, which means when contribution is 5, EBIT is 1, which means contribution is 5 times EBIT, which means 300 into 5 will become contribution. So once you have found contribution, you also know EBIT. The difference of 1200 will become fixed cost. Then after finding contribution, they have told variable expenses 66.67% of sales, which means it is 2/3. When variable cost is 2/3, 1/3 is contribution, 1/3 is PV ratio, 1/3 is contribution. When 1/3 of contribution is 1500, how much is the full value then? It will be 1500 divided by 1/3, which will come to 4500. Having found sales, the difference between sales and contribution will become variable cost. Okay. So sales minus variable cost is contribution, minus fixed cost is EBIT, minus interest is EBT. After EBT, subtract a tax of 50%, you will get earnings after tax. Is it understood for A? I have told only for A. For A, is it clear? For A, they gave me only the interest information. Every other information was in the form of ratios. I had to cross multiply and find the values. Is it understood? Right. Same apply to B. What happens when it comes to B? When it comes to B, they have told the interest amount is 300, right? What does this 300 influence? This 300 influences financial leverage. How much is financial leverage told? 4:1, which means 400 is EBIT and 100 is EBT. EBIT by EBT is 4:1, which means interest is 3 as a ratio. That 3 as a ratio is 300, which means what is 4 as a ratio? It will become 400, which means 1 as a ratio will be 100. Minus tax at 50%, you will get earnings after tax. Having found EBIT, now apply it on operating leverage. How much is operating leverage? It is 6:1, which means contribution is 6 and EBIT is 1, which means contribution is 6 times of EBIT. So 6 times of 400 will be 2,400 of contribution, which means contribution is 2,400, EBIT is 400. The difference of 2,000 will be fixed cost. Having found contribution, they have told variable expense is 75% of sales, which means 25% is PV ratio. That 25% is contribution of 2,400, which means how much is sales? It will be 2,400 divided by 25% of PV ratio. So 2,400 divided by 25% will give you 9,600. 9,600 minus 2,400 will give you variable cost of 7,200. Is company B understood? Did you understand B? Hello? Right. Then comes C. What is happening to C? For C, they have given interest is 1,000. What is this? This comes into financial leverage. How much is financial leverage? It is 2:1, which means EBIT is 2,000, EBT is 1,000, right? So here when 2:1, 1,000 is interest, which is the in-between ratio of 1, which means what is 2? 2 becomes 2,000, 1 becomes 1,000. Minus tax at 50% will give you earnings after tax. Having found EBIT, apply it in operating leverage. What happens in operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT is operating leverage. What is operating leverage given to us? It is given as 2:1, which means contribution is 2 times EBIT. How much is EBIT? It is 2,000. 2 times of that is contribution. So 2,000 into 2 contribution becomes 4,000, which means fixed cost is the in-between value of 2,000. Having found the contribution, they have told variable expense is 50%, which means PV ratio is 50%, which means sales is contribution by PV ratio. 4,000 divided by 50%, sales is 8,000. 8,000 minus 4,000, you will get 4,000. That's all. You have completed the income statement. Is this sum clear? Is this sum clear? Very good. Right. So now coming to the next sum. Here are the workings. I will share the notes in the group after the end of the class. Let me look into what sum is this. 1,40,000, 40,000. Yeah, illustration 49. Please take illustration 49. What is told in this sum? The following data is available for XYZ Limited. Sales is 2 lakhs. Variable cost is 30%, which is 60,000. They have given the income statement themselves. Okay, you need not prepare the income statement. They have given it to you. Sales minus variable cost is contribution, minus fixed cost is EBIT, minus interest is profit before tax. Okay, so 2 lakh minus 60,000 is 1,40,000, minus 1 lakh is 40, minus 5,000 of interest, 35,000 is profit before tax. What are they asking you for? Find out. Using the concept of financial leverage, by what percentage will the taxable income increase if EBIT increase by 6%? Then, using the concept of operating leverage, by what percentage will EBIT increase if there is 10% increase in sales? And last, using the concept of leverages, financial and operating leverage மேல ரெண்டு ஆப்ஷன்ல போயிடுது. அப்படின்னா கடைசியில் என்னது? Combined leverage. By what percentage will the taxable income increase if sales increase by 6%? Also verify the results in view of the above figures. Okay. Having given the income statement, straight away find the leverages. What are the leverages you are supposed to find? Operating leverage, financial leverage, and combined leverage. How do you find them? Operating leverage is contribution by EBIT. Financial leverage is EBIT by EBT. Combined leverage is operating leverage into financial leverage. Having found these three leverages, what are they asking in the question? Using the concept of financial leverage. Coming to degree of financial leverage, how do you write it? It is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. What is dependent in financial leverage? EBT. What is independent in financial leverage? EBIT. So the formula is percentage change in EBT divided by percentage change in EBIT. How much is the financial leverage? 1.14. What information is given to me in the question? By what percentage will the taxable income? What do you mean by taxable income? EBT, earnings before tax. That is taxable income. By what percentage will the taxable income increase if EBIT increases by 6%? So percentage change in EBIT is 6%. How much will be the percentage change in EBT then? It will be 6.9%. They are also asking you to verify the results. So let's verify. Take the EBIT. How much is EBIT given in your income statement? In your income statement, the EBIT is given as 40,000. How much is the change in EBIT? They have told increase of 6%. So 40,000 plus 6% will give you 42,400. Will interest change? No, it is fixed financial cost. So minus 5,000. What happens to your EBT now? Here it is again not EBIT, it is EBT. What happens to your EBT now? It becomes 37,400. How much was your EBT earlier? EBT earlier was 35,000, which means how much is increase in EBT? It is 2,400. What is the percentage change in EBT then? 2,400 is the increase on the base value of 35,000 into 100, which will give you 6.85%, which you can round off to 6.9%. That is what you arrived here also. Hence proven. Are you able to understand? Could you all understand? Right. Again, in the same sum, they are asking you, using the concept of operating leverage, by what percentage will EBIT increase if there is 10% increase in sales? Degree of operating leverage. Percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. What is dependent variable here? EBIT. What is independent variable? Sales. So percentage change in EBIT divided by percentage change in sales. How much was the operating leverage we found? We found in the first step itself the operating leverage, correct? Operating leverage we found as 3.5. Having found the operating leverage, substitute it in that formula, you will get percentage change in EBIT as 35%. Now let's show the proof of it. How much is the sales going to increase? It is going to increase by 10%. How much is your existing sales? 2 lakhs. So 2 lakh plus 10%, 2 lakh 20,000 will be the revised sales. What happens to variable cost? With change in volume, there will be change in variable cost. How much is variable cost? Variable cost is at 30%. Okay. So 2 lakh 20,000 into 30% will give you 66,000 as variable cost. What is contribution? It will be 2 lakh 20,000 into 70%. When 30% is variable cost, 70% is contribution. Will the fixed cost change? No, it will remain the same 1 lakh. So how much is your EBIT now? 54,000. What is the increase in EBIT? Earlier it was 40,000. Now it is 54,000, which means 14,000 is increase in EBIT. What is the percentage of increase? 14,000 divided by 40,000 of base value, 35%. This is what I got in substituting the formula, hence proven. Are you able to understand? So, Purida. Right. Coming to the same question, the last subdivision, they say, using the concept of leverages, by what percentage will the taxable income increase if the sales increase by 6%? Also verify the results in view of the above figures. Coming to degree of combined leverage, it is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. What is dependent variable here? The taxable income, which is earnings before tax, divide by percentage change in independent variable, which is the sales. Combined leverage we already found as 4. Percentage change in EBT is unknown. What is the percentage change in sales given? 6%, which means what is percentage change in EBT? It is 6 into 4, which is 24%. Let's look into the proof of it. How much is sales increasing by? 6%. 2 lakh plus 6% will give you sales. What is contribution? It is 70% of sales. Why is it 70%? 30% is variable cost, which means the remaining 70% is contribution. Fixed cost remains the same 1 lakh EBIT. Interest remains the same 5,000 EBT. How much was the earlier EBT? Earlier EBT was 35,000. How much is the increase? 8,400 is the increase on the base value of 35,000. If you are representing it as a percentage, you get 24%. The same 24% I got by applying in the formula, hence proven. Are you able to understand? Do you understand? Right. Is it clear to all of you? It's clear, right? Very good. Please take illustration 50. Illustration 50. This will be the last sum for today. Okay. Henceforth, your classes will be until 1 o'clock only. Right. Offline class. Find out operating leverage from the following data. Sales is 50,000. Variable cost is 60%. Fixed cost is 12,000. What is the question? Operating leverage. Remember simple. Sales is 50,000. Variable cost is 60% on sales, which is 30,000. How much is contribution? 20,000. Fixed cost is 12,000. What is EBIT? It is 8,000. What is the question? Operating leverage. How do you find operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. 20,000 by 8,000. 2.5 is operating leverage. Is it understood? Right. Coming to the second part of the question, they say find out the financial leverage from the following data. Given net worth is 25 lakhs. What is net worth? It is equity capital. Okay. Debt equity ratio is given as 3:1. Interest rate is 12%. Operating profit is 20 lakhs. What do you mean by operating profit? Operating profit is nothing but EBIT minus interest. For interest, they have given interest percentage as 12%, but they have not given you the amount of debt. How do you find the amount of debt? You find it using debt equity ratio. What is debt equity ratio? It is given as 3:1, which means equity is 25 lakhs, which is 1. What is debt? Debt is 3 times equity. So debt is 75 lakhs. Interest on debt will be 75 lakhs into 12%, which is 9 lakhs. EBIT minus interest will give you EBT. What is the question? Find out financial leverage. Financial leverage is EBIT by EBT. which is 20 lakhs divided by 11 lakhs, you get 1.82. Is it understood? Right. This sum, I will share the notes to you people, but I will not do it in class. This is meant for homework. Illustration 51. It is very similar to illustration 48. It is very similar to illustration 48, except for the ratios being different. You can try it yourself. Illustration 51 is illustration 34 as per the old edition of textbook. The answer is here. I will share the notes in the group. I will not do it in class. It is the same as illustration 48. Okay. You can do it yourself in case of doubt. What is leverage analysis? It is the impact of fixed cost on the profits made by the organization, right? So I have explained about the operating leverage, financial leverage, and combined leverage. What is operating leverage? It is contribution by EBIT. Financial leverage is financial leverage is EBIT by EBT, and combined leverage is contribution by EBT. What are those leverages trying to convey? Those leverages, operating leverage helps to measure the impact of fixed operating cost on profits. Financial leverage helps to measure the impact of fixed financial cost on profits. The impact of both fixed operating cost and fixed financial cost on profits is measured using combined leverage. If they are asking you for the percentage of change, in such case, we will be applying the degree of leverages. How do you measure the degree of leverages? It is percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable. In case of operating leverage, which is dependent and which is independent? In case of operating leverage, EBIT is dependent and sales is independent. Next, in case of financial leverage, EBT is dependent and EBIT is independent. In case of combined leverage, EBT is dependent and sales is independent. So the formula will be the percentage change in dependent variable divided by percentage change in independent variable, right? So we will proceed with sums on leverages. Please take exercise sum. Exercise sum number 22, is it? Annual sales of a company is 60 lakhs. Sales to variable cost, which sum number is that as per your edition of textbook? Okay, so sum number 8 as per your edition of textbook. Annual sales of a company is 60 lakhs. Sales to variable cost ratio is 150%. Fixed cost other than interest is 5 lakhs per annum. Company has 11% debentures of 30 lakhs. You are required to calculate the operating, financial, and combined leverages of the company. Sales is 60 lakhs. How much is variable cost? They say sales to variable cost is 150%. How much is sales? 60 lakhs. 60 lakhs divided by variable cost is 150%, which means how much is variable cost? It is 60 lakhs divided by 150%. You get variable cost as 40 lakhs. The variable cost information was not straight away given to us. Instead, they have told sales to variable cost ratio is 150%. So sales to variable cost is 150%, which means how much is variable cost? It is 40 lakhs. Sales minus variable cost will give us contribution minus fixed cost. The fixed cost other than interest is 5 lakhs. So this is fixed operating cost. Contribution minus fixed cost will give us EBIT minus the interest. How much is the interest? Debentures is 30 lakhs. 11% is the rate of interest. So 30 lakhs into 11% will give us 3 lakh and 30,000 as the amount of interest. EBIT minus interest will give you earnings before tax. What is the question? They are asking us to find operating leverage, financial leverage, and combined leverage. How do you find operating leverage? It is contribution by EBIT. From the income statement, how much was contribution? 20 lakhs. Divide by EBIT is 15 lakhs. This will give us operating leverage. What is financial leverage? It is EBIT by EBT. So it is 15 lakhs divided by 11 lakh and 70,000. Then combined leverage. Combined leverage, you can measure it in two ways. Both will give you the same answer. Either it is operating leverage into financial leverage, or it is contribution by EBT. Both will give you the same answer. Okay. Hence you find combined leverage as well. Is this sum understood? Is this sum understood? Right. Now come to exercise sum number 10. Exercise sum number 10. A firm has a sale of 40 lakhs, variable cost of 25 lakhs, fixed cost of 6 lakhs, 10% debt of 30 lakhs, equity capital of 45 lakhs. Calculate operating and financial leverages. Sales is 40 lakhs. Variable cost is 25 lakhs, which means contribution is 15 lakhs. Fixed cost is 6 lakhs. EBIT is 9 lakhs. Interest is 10% on 30 lakhs, which is 3 lakhs. So EBT is 6 lakhs. What is the question? Operating and financial leverage. Operating leverage is contribution by EBIT. Financial leverage is EBIT by EBT. That's all. Is this sum understood? Right. Now come to exercise sum number 11. What is told here? From the following financial data of company A and B, prepare their income statement. They have told a few information. The other information I have to fill in. So just write down the income statement format. Sales minus variable cost is contribution, minus fixed cost is EBIT, minus interest is EBT, minus tax at 30% is earnings after tax. Okay. How much is variable cost? It is given as 56,000. How much is fixed cost? It is given as 20,000. Interest expense is given as 12,000. Then what other information is given to me? I'm talking about company A alone. Interest expense is given as 12,000. After that, they say financial leverage is 5:1. What do you mean by financial leverage? It is EBIT by EBT. EBIT by EBT is 5:1, which means what is interest as a ratio? It is 4. 5 is EBIT. EBT is 1, which means in between EBIT and EBT, I have interest. That interest is 4 as a ratio. 4 as a ratio is 12,000, which means how much is 5 and how much is 1? You can cross multiply and find. 4 is 12,000, which means 1 is 3,000. 5 is 15,000. Having arrived at EBT, they have told tax is 30%. Apply 30% on it, you will get earnings after tax. After arriving at this EBIT, I have been told of a fixed cost of 20,000. So if I'm going in the reverse working, EBIT plus fixed cost will give me contribution. Then having known the variable cost, contribution plus variable cost will give me sales. So that's how I complete the income statement of company A. Coming to company B. For company B, they have told variable cost is 60% of sales. They have told interest expenses 9,000. They have told about operating leverage, which is 4:1. Income tax rate is 30% and sales is 1,05,000. So sales is 1,05,000, which is given to me. How much is variable cost? 60% of sales. So 1,05,000 into 60% will give you 63,000 as variable cost. 1,05,000 minus 63,000 gives you contribution. How much is fixed cost? We do not know. Instead, they have told operating leverage. How much is operating leverage? 4:1. What is the operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. Correct? So, contribution is 4 as a ratio. EBIT is 1 as a ratio. When 4 is 42,000, what is 1? It will be 42,000 divided by 4, which will give you 10,500. The difference between 42,000 and 10,500 is 31,500 of fixed cost. Interest of 9,000 is already given to you. Subtract, you will get earnings before tax. Tax at 30% on it, you will get earnings after tax. For company B, They gave us the operating leverage. What is operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. How much is operating leverage? 4:1. 4 is 32,000, which means what is 1? 1 will be 42,000 divided by 4, which will give us 10,500. Having arrived at contribution and EBIT, the difference between both will give me fixed cost. Interest is already given to me. I will get EBT minus tax at 30%. I will end up with earnings after tax, thus completing the income statement. Is this sum understood? Right. Now, please take question number 9. 9, I think so. 1 minute. No, not 9. 7. Limited has the following balance sheet. Is that 7 in your book? Question number 7. Right. So, what is told in this sum? They have told Limited had the following balance sheet as on 31st March 2016. So, they have given you the liabilities and equity and the asset side. They've given you the balance sheet. Okay, 40 crores is the total of assets and liabilities. The additional information given is under fixed cost per annum excluding interest is 8 crores. Variable operating cost is 65%. Total asset turnover ratio is 2.5. Income tax rate is 40%. Required. Calculate the following and comment. What are they asking us to find? Earnings per share, operating leverage, financial leverage, and combined leverage. How do you find earnings per share? You have to prepare your income statement. Sales minus variable cost contribution minus fixed cost EBIT minus interest EBT. So minus tax, earnings after tax, divide by number of equity shares will give you the earnings per share. So to start off an income statement, you should know sales. Have they told sales? No. Instead, they have given you the ratio of asset turnover. Total asset turnover ratio is given as 2.5. Total asset turnover ratio is 2.5, which means what is the formula for asset turnover ratio? We will discuss it in detail in ratio analysis chapter. Turnover divided by total assets is 2.5, which means how much is turnover? Why should I know turnover? Turnover is the sales. Why should I know that? Only if I know turnover, I can prepare my income statement and find the earnings available to equity shareholders. So to start with, I should know turnover. How do I find turnover? Using the asset turnover ratio. Turnover divided by total assets is 2.5, which means how much is turnover? It is 2.5 into total assets. So it is 2.5 into 40 crores, which will give you 100 crores as the sales. Having known sales, prepare the income statement. How do you prepare income statement? Sales is 100 crores. Variable cost is 65%, which is given. So 65 crores, contribution is 35, minus fixed cost is 8 crores, EBIT, minus interest. How much is interest? Look into the balance sheet. Have they told 15% debentures of 20 crores? Which means the interest is 15% on 20 crores. So 3 crores interest. EBIT minus interest will give you earnings before tax. Minus tax at 40% will give you earnings after tax. Earnings after tax is 14.4 crore, 14 lakh 40,000, sorry, 14 crores 40 lakhs. 14 crore 40 lakhs divide by total number of shares. How many number of shares? Look into the balance sheet. 1 crore shares, which means earnings per share is 14.4. To arrive at earnings per share, you have to prepare the income statement for which you should know the turnover. For finding turnover, you are using the asset turnover ratio. Then comes operating leverage. Having prepared the income statement, finding leverage is now easy. Contribution by EBIT will give you operating leverage. EBIT by EBT will give you financial leverage. Combined leverage will be operating leverage into financial leverage. That's all. Is this sum understood? Is this sum clear? Then come to exercise Sum number 9. Exercise sum number 9. The following details of T Limited. Today, I hope I will finish this particular study note. The study note 9 வந்து ஃபுல்லா முடிச்சிடுவேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். I'm not sure. I will try my level best. Okay. The following details of T Limited for the year ended 31st March 2016 are given below. What are all told? Operating leverage is 1.4. Combined leverage is 2.8. Fixed cost excluding interest is 2.04 lakhs. Sales is 30 lakhs. 12% debentures of 100 lakhs, equity share capital, income tax rate. Calculate financial leverage. Calculate PV ratio and earnings per share. If the company belongs to an industry whose asset turnover is 1.5, does it have a high or a low asset leverage? At what level of sales, earnings before tax of the company will be equal to 0? Okay, let's solve one after the other. What is told? First question is calculate financial leverage. They have given us operating leverage is 1.4 and combined leverage is 2.8. How do you measure combined leverage? It is operating leverage into financial leverage, which means how do you find the financial leverage? It will be combined leverage divided by operating leverage. So you get financial leverage as 2. First part of the question is answered. Second question, calculate PV ratio and earnings per share. Okay. So how do you find that? You have to prepare an income statement. Okay. So how much is sales? Sales is 30 lakhs. Second question is they are asking you PV ratio and earnings per share, for which you have to prepare the income statement. Start with sales. You first draft the income statement and fill the available information. Sales minus variable cost is contribution minus fixed cost EBIT minus interest EBT minus tax. Tax percentage is given as 30%, earnings after tax. This is just the format which I told. Now come to filling the information. What is information told? Sales is given as 30 lakhs. Fixed operating cost is given as 2.04 lakhs. Then interest on debentures 21.25 into 20, look at here, 21 lakh 25,000 into 12%, which will give you 2 lakh and 55,000 as the amount of interest. So this is 2 lakh 55,000 of interest. EBIT minus interest will give you EBT. Minus tax at 30%, you will get earnings after tax. For this EBIT, what are we supposed to do? They have told, a minute. They have told operating leverage is contribution by EBIT, which is given as 1.4 by 1, which means contribution is 1.4 as a value, EBIT is 1 as a value. What happens between contribution and EBIT? It is fixed cost. How much is the fixed cost given to us? 2 lakh and 4,000. So as a ratio, it is 0.4. Between contribution and EBIT, I have fixed cost. So as a ratio, it is 0.4. When 0.4 is 2 lakh and 4,000, what is 1.4 and what is 1? You can cross multiply and get contribution and EBIT. Having arrived at EBIT minus interest, EBT minus tax at 30%, you get earnings after tax. What is the question? The question is calculate PV ratio. How do you measure PV ratio? You know contribution now. You also know sales. PV ratio is contribution divided by sales into 100. How do you measure earnings per share? Earnings after tax divided by the number of shares. How many number of shares? They have told equity share capital is 17 lakhs of rupees 10 each, which means it is 1,70,000 shares. Earnings per share is earnings after tax divided by number of equity shares. Hence, you get the earnings per share. Is it understood so far? Is it understood so far? Right. Then coming to the third subdivision, if the company belongs to an industry whose asset turnover is 1.5, does it have a high or a low asset leverage? So the industry leverage is 1.5. What is for this company? How do you find asset turnover ratio? It is turnover divided by total assets. What is turnover? Turnover is sales, which is 30 lakhs. Divide by total assets. Do you know total assets? Here, the total assets is given as, total assets is not given. Do you all know that total of assets is equal to total of liabilities in a balance sheet? Yes. So, assuming there are no current liabilities, they have told about debentures and equity share capital. So, 17 lakhs plus 21 lakh 25,000 gives you a total liability of 38 lakh 25,000. Assuming there are no current liabilities. The total of liabilities will be the total of assets. So, 38 lakh 25,000 is total assets. Hence, you get an asset turnover of 0.784. What is the question? If the company belongs to an industry whose asset turnover is 1.5, does it have a high or a low asset leverage? The firm has a low asset leverage. For how much is the industry standard? 1.5. How much is the turnover ratio for the firm? 0.784. It is less compared to 1.5. So you will say the firm has a low asset leverage. Then, at what level of sales, earnings before tax of the company will be 0. Look into the income statement. In your income statement, they are asking you this level of EBT where the earnings before tax will be 0. Here it is 2.55 lakhs. They want it to be 0. What are they asking you? At what level of sales earnings before tax of the company will be equal to 0, which means your contribution should be sufficient to recover the fixed operating cost and the fixed financial cost, right? So they are asking you the level of sales where earnings before tax is 0. For earnings before tax to be 0, what does it mean? The contribution, which is the positive figure, should be sufficient to meet the fixed operating cost and fixed financial cost. How do you measure contribution? It is sales into PV ratio. So, sales into PV ratio, which is the contribution, should be sufficient to cover the fixed cost and interest, right? So, how much is sales? The question is about sales. How much is sales? It is fixed cost plus interest divided by PV ratio. Hence, you get this amount of sales, which will make your EBT 0. Is it understood? Is it clear to all of you? Did you all understand? Right. So after this, I think the leverages chapter is over. These are all the exercise sums from cost of capital. So what I will do, I will teach cost of capital and then come back to these exercise sums in cost of capital. Leverages is done. Okay.